So see me, and then I will sit down in favor of Daniel Hunch, who will give the majority of the tutorial. So this tutorial is going to be about a product called Semantic Media Wiki Plus, or SMW Plus. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of the history of how SMW Plus came to be. And then Daniel will talk about what it actually is, right, and how to use it. So SMW Plus actually started with this gentleman here who's in the upper right-hand corner. That's Paul Allen. And so Paul Allen is the lesser-known partner of Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft, one of the world's wealthiest individuals. Right? He is regularly top 50 wealthiest guys in the world. And one of the things that you can do when you have a lot of money and a lot of time on your hands is you can start to think about what should be in the world that is not in the world right now. And one of the things that Paul's been thinking about for a while, I work for Paul, by the way. One of the things that has been thinking about for a while is something we call the digital Aristotle, which is, it's just that why can't we've had computers for a long time, they're very powerful, you can do amazing stuff with them. Why can't I just ask the computer a question and get an answer? Right? As opposed to get a whole pile of search results which may or may not work, as opposed to have to have to write something in this, maybe a database language like SQL or Sparkle, which nobody knows and which is hard to debug. Why can't I just do this? And so he's been trying to think about how can I build, I want to make science go faster, I want to make the progress of technology go faster. One critical element of that would be sophisticated question answering for the scientists of the world. That would be really neat. And so that's the goal of this research project which he has called the Digital Aristotle, which you can think of like a European Commission framework project. And one component of that is, if you're thinking about question answering, the first thing you think about is knowledge. And so how do you get a scalable knowledge acquisition system out there to pull the world's knowledge? And in at least 2007, SMW was a completely radical approach to that. It was a lot of knowledge acquisition technology was sort of about how can we induce knowledge from databases? How can we understand schemas? How can we how can you read natural language? And SMW was completely radical. Number one, it was social in a way that most knowledge acquisition systems, even today, are not. And number two, it was very web-oriented, also in a way that most knowledge acquisitions were not. So we had a project as part of the Digital Aristotle called Project Halo, where we had some very traditional R&D on knowledge acquisition, and SMW was something which we saw at Vulcan, with this organization that Mr. Allen has, that was really a good counterpoint to that. So this was 2007. SMW had sort of been released and sort of not at this time. Denny was right in the middle of it. Is Marcus in here somewhere?
I think he's
over on the other side. So Denny and Marcus had come up with this. I think it was still in the 0 dot something at the time. And we thought, this is really neat. But it's kind of incomplete. And so what was needed to really figure out if SMW was going to be a good component for this project? So we needed, number one, a code base that was a lot more reliably engineered. We thought that, as Mr. Allen has always thought, that the measure of impact, or at least a very good measure of impact, is how many commercial companies are basing a business on the software you provide. And so what do you need? You need commercial level support, you need commercial level documentation, you need, the UI was pretty weak at that time. It had, you had to understand wiki tag or wiki text kind of tags, this double bracket syntax, which automatically took 95% of corporate users completely out of the picture because they weren't going to learn it. It's hard enough for them to learn Microsoft Word. Right? And so we needed security. right? Anytime you're in an enterprise or commercial setting, or really even a sophisticated setting that is not a commercial setting, you need security, you need a what you see is what you get editor, we need a better query interface so you're not sitting there struggling with the ask or Spark query syntax, a lot of linkages to external systems, you need all this kind of stuff. We also needed to have an organization that would actually help companies deploy this to actually see if any of this was going to work. And so we started this effort called SMW Plus, right, to create a package of code and extensions that would fit that characteristic. And many of these people, we've been a funder of many of the people at this conference. Enterprise, sort of at the center of a hub, but also Free University of Berlin, MES, Denny, your own, a lot of graduate students. We've funded prototypes at companies. We've provided money for this conference, not for this actual conference, but for earlier versions of this conference. We've been really pleased to see that this conference is now standing on its own, and so it doesn't actually require Vulkan funding anymore. That's progress in our view. And we've seen some actual, real transition success. And I think if this is this on net? Here, we can pull this up. All right, well, let's try this. We're going to see if. No. Can you do you remember the DM Wiki stuff? This is actually going to go, one of the things we do at Vulkan is we monitor download figures, we monitor, how many people use this SMW forum site that we sponsor and that Enterprise maintains and puts together. And so I was going to show you some graphs to actually show what kind of, here we are.
Here we go.
Let's pull, actually, Daniel, can you go down to the, here,
this is a nice graph.
This is a nice graph. Right? we like the graphs that look like this. Not all the graphs look like this, right? I mean, honesty. But this is our new deployment framework. So one of the things we found is that now that there's SMW and there's maybe 20 or 30 different extensions that are out there, this becomes very difficult for a person whose job is not full-time SMW to manage, to download, to understand about how all these things get updated. And so we saw that actually about a year ago, and so invested in building a nice deployment framework for this, and you can see the downloads for that going up. I mean, or the access requests through the deployment framework are now over 2,000 a month, right? Accessing and pulling stuff down through this framework. Do you have the visitor log to SMW form itself?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, this is a good one.
Here it is.
So you can see we're looking at about just under 9,000 visitors a month and this is pretty impressive, almost 4,000 unique visitors a month, right, into our SMW forum, which is this sort of more commercial discussion place for SMW. We keep statistics on how many downloads there are of the different pieces. It's also hosted in SourceForge. How many downloads are coming off of that? And so, I mean, we can go through all this. I don't think it's particularly germane right now. But what I wanted to say was that there actually is some success here in taking this particular package of free SMW extensions and a core, right? Which has all been tested together. And we've seen it in companies. And so that's maybe some introduction. That's why Vulkan, that's me and Mr. Allen and Will sitting here in the front, and Jesse, who's not here, have been interested in this and have been sort of one of these quiet infrastructure people sending funds and sending pieces into that. And I guess the final thing which I'll have to say is that the other thing that Vulkan does is we are a venture capital organization, operations primarily in the United States, but also worldwide. And so if anybody, and we of course are interested, if anybody in this conference has got a brand new, great new idea about SMW Plus, preferably a product idea, not just a consulting company, let us know. Okay, Daniel, can you please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for the introduction. So, myself and my colleague Michael, who is still preparing a bit, apparently, are quite happy to give you a tutorial today, a hands-on tutorial today about our product, SMW Plus, which is a commercial product which is built on top of what you're doing of SMW. Some short words to Enterprise. We are an IT company. We are situated in Germany, in Karlsruhe, in the southwest of Germany. We have around 50 to 60 people working in the company. And we are commercializing software in the field of semantic technology. So, for example, we have a flagship product which is named AutoBroker. This is a reasoning engine and triple store. So another product we are commercializing is SMW Plus. And thanks to the contract which we got from Vulcan, we've been able to lift SMW to the next level. So while I'm telling you this stuff, please prepare yourself for the hands-on part of the session and try to listen to what I'm saying in parallel. You can participate in the hands-on session if you have a browser which is either Internet Explorer 8 or Firefox 4 or Firefox 6. Any other ones have not been tested, so you might have issues there, but these ones are supported by SMW Plus. So, yeah, not all of it. Unfortunately, otherwise I would have added it into this list. You can read after what we are going to do in the hands-on session. If you go to this URL. Oh, nein.
Here, I've got one.
Oh, great. Oops.
There you go.
Oh. Very moment. All right, so this here is, so to say, the rundown script of the hands-on session. Here, this is the wiki where you're going to work with. So please open this wiki, this URL right now if you want to participate, and create an account in the wiki. Okay.
I'm sorry, should we be starting an account on the SMW forum? Or
No,
on the
in this wiki here.
EC2.
tinyurl.com SMW. Here you can read it. All right, now let's continue. I want to give you a brief introduction into SMW Plus. We have learned from Mark how this all came together. We are commercializing this product. This means we need to formulate a claim and a message for our customers, for the people interested in it. So our claim is SMW Plus is a semantic enterprise wiki. It's a semantic wiki. So this comes from, so to say, the SMW genes it's carrying with it. But it comes also with enterprise critical features. For example, access control, for example, LDAP support, etc. So for the people out there, what's common is, all right, it's a wiki, it's a collaboration tool, people are logging into it, they're collaborating in their daily work with it. So wikis are, in general, I would say, a normal part of the IT landscape, so people are familiar with wikis. But what's new with SMW Plus, the differentiating factor compared to other wikis out there is it's like a database. You enter and stuff data within the text. That's new because text and data are mixed up. They become one of the same. Also, what we are saying is SMW Plus is a data integration tool. It's important for a tool which is used in daily operation that the people have, for example, legacy data at hand when collaborating. So, for example, the customer relationship management tool or data sitting in that should be accessible in the wiki, if it's a good wiki. So we are claiming that this is possible with SMW Plus. And to make it a bit more attractive to commercial and deploying in commercial settings, enterprise settings, is it has everything which makes the administrator happy. So what actually is SMW Plus? You already know SMW, you know MediaWiki. So this software is part of SMW Plus. SMW Plus wraps this software and comes with an installer or comes as a VMware image or Amazon image, and that's easy to deploy. Then it's easier to deploy than if you go the hard way and start with downloading, for example, MySQL or XAMPP and Apache and install it and configure it by hand. So this is all done or all part of SMW Plus. Within 15 minutes or so, using a Windows installer, you have this stack installed and the software is ready. What's also part of SMW Plus are the usability enhancements, which we have implemented over the course of Project Halo with our colleagues from Vulkan. You'll learn that in a minute, what we have done there. Right. All this, including some paperwork, for example, for having a guarantee for customers, and this is all part of SMW Plus. So we give guarantee. This is also a difference to SMW. I mean, Danny will not give guarantee or warranty to his software, of course not, but Enterprise is giving warranty and guarantee if you use SMW Plus. Now, what did we focus on and work on over the course of Project Halo? Starting from SMW, from Semantic MediaWiki, we have basically worked on two dimensions. Namely, we have improved the usability. This means we have, for example, shielded or provided tools which shield this terrible bracket syntax from the users. So you'll see that in a minute, how this looks like. So nobody needs to remember how a property is called in the wiki, because we have a tool which tells you, all right, now you should use the property this and that. And also we are working on interoperability features. This means features which makes it easy for you to get data into the wiki and to reuse existing data in the wiki and to make it available to the wiki users. So this arrow here, so to say, symbolizes our work in the project and lifts Semantic MediaWiki, which is scientific software, on the next level, namely to SMW Plus, which is software which can be used by the man on the street, so to say. So what you will see today in the tutorial, as examples of our improvements, we have worked on improving methods for searching. So with SMW Plus, you have easier ways to search compared to what's coming as a standard with MediaWiki or with extensions to MediaWiki. So this is the faceted search, you will see that. We have a WYSIWYG editor integrated into our wiki. We have a handful set of tools which makes it really easy to maintain an ontology, to formulate categories and properties, and to simply keep an overview of the ontology in your wiki. And the semantic toolbar, this helps you tagging, creating annotations in articles. What else? Also, we made it easier to query for data in the wiki with the query interface. All right, now that everybody was able to log into our demonstration wiki, all right, anybody has trouble? If so, then while Michael is setting up the stuff, I can help out. Anybody is having trouble?
Is that one login for both links, or is that one log each link?
So this here,
in one wiki account.
right? So they're separate. You only need to log in for this.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, Michael, yes, please. Open the wiki. So this is the wiki we will work with right now for the tutorial. And you see that the user interface is quite different from SMW or MediaWiki. And now please go ahead and create an account for yourself. While Michael is doing that, we have here a couple of new user interface elements. For example, here a menu bar. Here is, okay, this is similar to what MediaWiki offers. All right, very good. All right, so good. Now let's start. Let's search for an article, namely for an article named SMW Plus Sandbox. Just enter it into the search field on the main page. SMW Plus Sandbox. Click on search. And this is now the set of search hits, and here we want to filter for a content bundle. Yeah, click on content bundle, and here we have the article we are looking for. So this is a faceted search, and you can include here filters for categories or properties. So this is similar to what you saw earlier from Jaron, namely the drill down. So this provides similar functionality.
But this is completely automatically created. So no configuration of facets or so. If the data is there, the facets will appear here. So no configuration at all. You just put the data and the faceted search will display it and make it drill downable.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll say is there was some discussion in your own description of semantic drill down, which is an absolutely cool extension, about how compute intensive it was because it was hitting the database at every instance. So this is built on a very, very different platform. It's built on the solar system, which is a piece of open source software. And so it has its own data and it's lightning fast. Right? So you should be able to open and shut this stuff within a second. Right? Even for very, very large.
You need to build something in? No, but the solar server has to go through
Wait.
Can you just double shift R? Or Control F5?
Yeah.
Conscious shift.
Most of the people made it. this is the URL of the wiki. tinyurl.com/SMW fall 2011.
SMW dash,
Yeah.
SMW-fall
Yeah.
2011.
it's all uppercase?
SMW and F is uppercase. Oh, actually everything.
It's all uppercase, yeah.
Didn't work. Okay.
So what's next, Daniel?
I'm checking here. Okay. Fall.
We'll do a little quiz at the end. So yeah. Just kidding.
So while Daniel's setting this up, the other thing which I'll mention is despite all this talk about commercial, virtually everything you see here should be free.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all under the same GNU license that we use.
Talk about commercial grade quality.
That's right. And you know, if you wish to have warranties and guaranteed support and whatnot, then you are going to pay a little bit for that. But the core software is available for free.
And even if you pay for it, it's very low price.
And it's very low. Yeah.
Okay, now let's carry on. Then please open this article named SMW Plus Sandbox. Open this article, SMW Plus Sandbox, like Michael is doing. And this article is actually a collection of articles which we are giving away with SMW Plus. This is a so-called what we call a sandbox or a tutorial article, and this gives you a quick start for learning how to use SMW Plus, and just skip the first section of it. Click twice on start to the next one. Right, now you should be here at an article which starts a task of red. So this is such a tutorial article which we will need now for our hands-on session. Very good, very good, very good.
All right.
There it is. Okay.
Michael, are you
Now
going to create
click
the
on start.
celebrities ontology?
Don't
Don't work on it. Don't work on it. All right, added your page for you. Daniel has a task now.
All right, there it is. Good. All right. Everybody's here. Now, what we want to do is
One screen show.
We're going to this page, right? Daniel?
yeah, that's it. Exactly this page. So this is explains what to do for the first part of the hands-on session. Namely, what we want to do is we want to enter tasks for our colleague named Red and want to populate data for this task. Now, Michael, please scroll down until you see there such a box. And this box contains nothing more than text. It's a bit layouted, and now you click on, hit on Control-C to take that, to copy the text, because you want to reuse the text in a new article which you want to create. So please mark it and hit Control-C to copy it. Once you've done that, you scroll up again and click on the Create New Article link at the top of the wiki. And this link is a shortcut for creating new articles. If you click on it, you get the Create New Article lightbox, which asks you for entering the name of the new article you want to create right now. Oh, yeah, Michael's task. All right, Michael is entering a task for himself. Enter the name. No, here on Create New Article. Create New Article. On the top of the wiki, you see a link. Create New Article. Please click on it. Very good. All right. Okay. So enter there, please, the name.
Please don't.
Please enter.
So
the
please
name.
choose a different name for this
Choose a
one.
name.
Don't choose that. You can. I mean, you can try entering. You can try entering another or a name which already exists, or a name of an article which already exists. If you do that, then you could simply not submit this microform here. The field here will, yeah, right. It will turn red and says, all right, you cannot create an article which already exists in the wiki. Yeah, Michael, please. I don't know. This article name is not so
Can you remember all that?
intuitive. Just erase this.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, okay. Good. So if you have decided about a good name about for the new task, then you select here in the selection box here the first option, which says empty article in WYSIWYG editor. This is the first option in the lightbox. Once you've selected that, you should be able to submit the form by clicking on the OK. Okay, so this is the way, this is the SMW Plus way of creating a new article. This is natural, this makes sense, this is not so, I don't know, weird, like the MediaWiki way doing it, which is searching, finding nothing, and then creating, which is, right, for Wikipedia this makes sense, but not for a wiki project. Good. So you should see now the new article with the WYSIWYG editor in it. Please place your mouse pointer or the cursor
I have to go back to this.
in the editor and paste the text you have copied into it. Michael, you are...
I'm not reliable, I know.
Okay, please copy the text into the WYSIWYG editor. Plus and box, what's the name of the article? Yeah. Yeah. Right, mark it, copy it to your clipboard, Control-C. That's it. All right, very nice. Now we do another thing which is new to you, namely we identify the data in this text, in this rich text, and tag it such that the machine understands what the data is about. So we start with saying, okay, this article is a task. This means that we annotate a category here. Michael, please click on Annotate in the semantic toolbar, but please be aware, not in the Properties section, but in the Categories section. Click on Annotate. If you don't have the semantic toolbar open, you have to switch it on. There is an icon here in the toolbar of the Visibilicator. If you click on it, then the semantic toolbar will switch on. Alright, very good. Okay, I see it. Everybody has it? Perfect. Good. Now, you click on Annotate in the Categories section, and there you see a string input field which has an auto-completion feature. Enter there the name of the task or the category you want to assign this article to, and we choose Task in Sandbox. Choose the category Task in Sandbox. So how to get the auto-completion list? You hit on the Control Alt space key on your keyboard. For the Germans, it's Steuerung Alt.
For me, it's only control space.
Oh, okay. Aha, good, perfect. There it is. So it's Control, and Alt and space. There it is. Good.
Yeah, please point in there. Right now, hit Control Alt.
Yes.
And now filtering.
Okay, please hit on return. Michael, please show it to us again how this works. Please make that field blank. Click on Annotate. Place your cursor in it. Hit on the Control Alt space in your keyboard and start typing in T something. And then you will get a filtered list of categories which are present in this wiki. And you want to say this article is an instance or belongs to the category Task in Sandbox. If you have done everything right, then the string input field will turn green, and you can click on Add. And by clicking on Add, this annotation is included into the Visibilicator tool. Please do that. Now this is like what you've seen earlier today. This is like typing in square bracket, category, colon, task in sandbox, square bracket, which is not so intuitive for people who are using this in daily work and don't want to spend time learning the syntax. This is why we've decided to invent this semantic toolbar, which offers to you means for writing the syntax. Now, we want to identify the data which is sitting in the text. Namely, we want to say, this task is assigned to somebody. So Michael, please mark this text user :Fred with your mouse pointer. And once you do that, a tagging float box pops up. And here you also have the auto-completion available. Point your cursor or place your cursor into the property string input field. Hit this key combination, Control-Alt-Space, and select there the property assigned to. So in order to make it a bit more interesting, you can assign tasks now to other people who are logged in the wiki. Yeah, make it blank and declare again. You can also user colon is not necessarily required. All right. Yeah, take Hank. I think Hank likes to update sometimes documentation. Yeah, you can enter there an alternative name. And if everything is green there, then you can click on Add. Now you see, this is the way how you identify and annotate data which is sitting in the text. Now you can carry on and do that also for start time and that again. Okay. Good. No, mark the select this text there and click on specify this property. Yeah, that's right. You need to close this form. So again, from the beginning. Hier, diese Manipulte ja, wieder neu markieren. Markieren wir das alles. Nee, das ist Be aware that there are, in the tagging float box, there are again two sections. There are a property section for creating property annotations and category sections in the tagging float box. So please don't mix them up. Right now we want to specify properties. So only use the orange part of the tagging float box right now for this.
The other thing is the deadline property is called end time.
Yeah, you should get a hint if you have properly inserted the category annotation. Then your selection should be rather short in the tagging float box. Namely, Michael, please show. Right. It's end time.
Yeah.
Right.
The directions say the deadline property.
Yeah, so easy.
But no, it's exploration. You say this is an opportunity to excel.
In order to make these changes to the system, you need to click on Save. At the bottom of the article, you have the our common buttons for saving or canceling stuff. So click on Save, and this saves your new article. Right, very good, Michael. Please open a new tab And let us take a look at the recent changes to see what has been entered. So for the people who are not so aware, we found it useful to place at the bottom of the screen a quick links area, and there you find recent changes, for example, and there we see who has created new tasks. Okay, very nice.
Wow, Fred's got a lot to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so to say, this list here, this is what any stupid wiki can display. This is not so meaningful. I mean, if I want to understand what the tasks are about and what data are contained in the tasks, then I should insert a query for the data, and the recent changes list is not so useful. So therefore, go to the query interface, Michael. Please don't do that too. Carry on entering tasks or entering taking data. While you're doing that, Michael is looking into the database and looks at what tasks we have. All right, not bad. Not bad. He can also display properties which are assigned to this category. Oh, yeah, big one. And this here, this tool is the query interface, and this comes also as a part of SMW+. You don't need to install an extension or something to use that.
Who was it?
Okay.
As you build the query, you get the results preview, which our user testing found to be important. People don't like just building queries, especially long, complex ones, without having some feedback. So you can start to see what some sample pieces of it look like.
Right. Michael does already some more advanced things, so he's also filtering for these tasks which are assigned to him. So what else could you do? So for example, you could display the timeline of all of the start dates, start times of the tasks. Select a suitable property. Click on add, and then open the format query section, and here you have all the result printers, which we saw earlier today. They are also included here. And there are all the tasks which on the 1st of July. Yeah. Okay. I believe this was a success. Very good. Well done. Nice. Now let's go to something more advanced. Namely, what you've done right now is you have used a data structure, or a given data structure, namely categories and properties which have been already part of that wiki. You simply reuse in order to populate the database. Now we want to alter or modify or create collaboratively a new ontology. And Michael will explain you what's the notion of an ontology and why it's good to have an ontology in the wiki.
Okay, thanks Daniel. Actually I was astonished that the term ontology did not come up until now. So I didn't hear it the whole morning, so probably you already are familiar with what an ontology is and how it maps to the wiki, so I only give a very quick introduction. An ontology, for me, essentially is a tree of classes, and each class has a couple of properties. If you know Java or object-oriented models, this is pretty much what an ontology is. There are complete science areas which discuss the notion of ontology, but we're not going there. Essentially, it's a tree of classes with subclass relation between classes. In the wiki, they are called categories. So we have the gray boxes which represent classes or categories. We have the orange boxes which represent instances of those classes. And we have properties which relate different instances of the classes to each other. And when we look how those concepts, those terms map into the world of the wiki, of the Semantic Media Wiki, we can see that the relationship between one class and its superclass, which I call it is here, a workshop is the event, is formulated in SMW like this. One class is in the one category is in the category in another category. So this markup represents the subclass of relationship of the ontology. If the same annotation is on an instance on the normal page in the main namespace of the wiki, then this essentially means the instance is an instance of this class, or a member of the class, or an element of the set, if you want. And relations have this double colon annotation when you look at the wiki markup. If you are on the page, Semantic Wiki tutorial, and there you have this markup, it says this instance is related to that instance via the attendee property. And this is essentially the same annotation, but the value is not another page, but some atomic value like a string or a number or a date or something. The annotation looks the same, and also the model in the ontology world also looks the same. Yeah. Next slide. When we define ontologies, we can not only use subclass of relationships, we can also define which properties belong to a class, or the class which has certain properties, like people have names, people have shoe size or something. A company might have a president or something. So this defines the domain of a property, and in SMW+, we can also define the range. We can not only distinguish between page-valued properties and number-valued properties or string-valued properties. We can also say the values of this property should be persons, or should be cars, or should be projects. So this really is a good supporting feature if you want to do autocompletion. We have already seen this when we made the annotations, and I wanted to instantiate the value for, what was it, has assignee. I clicked Control-Shift, and I only got persons. I didn't get other projects or other things, because they are not applicable for the property has assignee. So this ontology definition really helps in populating the wiki. It also helps in checking the consistency later on, to check do I match all my cardinality constraints if they are there? Are the allowed values or the range restrictions that are defined, are they actually fulfilled? And if not, where are they? Where need to go to fix it? So do I have something else? I think that's it. So for the next, let's say, 5 minutes, let's try to construct an ontology together. We are not doing it in the wiki. Immediately we do it on paper first, and then Daniel will take the concepts, the categories and properties, and we'll add them into our ontology building tool, which is also part of the wiki. So, and the domain that we identified would be good and everyone knows about is probably celebrities. So the first step usually is to identify relevant categories in the world of celebrities. So now I need your input, because I'm going to write down what categories do you think are relevant in the world of celebrities. Will.
Famous gangster rappers.
No, that's too long. Yeah, thank you.
Pointless celebrities. Celebrities without content.
Okay, then previous couple. That's probably correct, but nevertheless I will start with celebrity class first. Just and as you can see here, I'm using singular terms here. So for me, categories are singular always. Opposite to what Yaron told you in the morning. But okay, that's how my ontologies look like.
He said the same thing. He said
the categories should be
Plural, is it?
the forms should be plural, but the
No,
categories-
I paid special
Attention.
attention. So what other kinds of celebrities are there? Okay, let's say rapper. Without the W, right?
You want to have that kind of film celebrity, political celebrities,
Politician, yes.
scientists.
Yeah, you wish.
That's in the past, eh? That's like
Okay, so-
that's celebrities.
Okay, good. Apparently, they are all kind of celebrities. That means when I look at the ontology, they're all like dangling in the tree under celebrity, or maybe person or something. But celebrities are also probably related to other things as well, right? So maybe you can think about the other trees in the ontology. Gender, maybe. Okay, gender is good, but I will note it down in a different color.
But that's a property, isn't it? It's a property.
That's a property.
That's not a relation.
Yeah. What else?
The press, celebrities always have relations with the press.
Married,
Without
single.
press, no celebrity.
Press.
Movies.
Movie is good.
Dead
but-
or alive?
Stars in movie.
Addicted to something.
Addicted to something.
Very good. So I'm collecting now other classes and properties, right? So what was it addicted to?
Something.
Dated birth, dated death.
This is pretty narrow.
Wait. So addicted to and stars in movie.
So you would have to test them.
Yeah, probably. So this is just a brainstorm. We can
Well,
make it pretty. Then it will make it pretty.
Get a
later.
mind map.
So what was it? Birth date or something, right?
That's
Birth
property,
date.
yes, property. Income.
Real income. Yeah.
And birthday, birthdays, income.
How do you call it? How often I've been in contact with the Justice Department?
Currently in jail, Julian. Oh yeah. It's in jail. It's in jail.
This is jail, do and pay tax.
Okay, it's in jail, maybe.
It's in jail.
It's in jail.
It's in jail.
Does not pay tax.
Taxes last
So maybe this is already sufficient. I will add one more thing, named, let's say, first name, last name.
Yes, they have a name.
What to say.
Share.
Stage name.
That's it.
So as you already recognize, the two colors essentially distinguish between classes and properties. Just because this is a fundamental distinction that we have to make. So Daniel, please turn this chief of paper into ontology.
This should not be a big deal. Okay.
Ontology browser would be the tool to do it.
Alright.
And at the bottom, okay.
It's in the menu bar. So
I
open the
use
menu.
the-
Yeah, open the menu and there
We reframe
you
the
have
data browser.
access to
Ah.
the. Oh.
Are you
EC2 is down.
Is it down for everyone?
Or just me?
Or just us?
Oh, mine's good.
Oh.
I was able to bring it up.
Oh no.
Thinking you just
Can you
lost
try
network
another browser?
connection.
Just
Yeah.
Do you have internet connectivity?
No.
should I try it?
I don't know what's happening with my. There's my.
Ach echt, man drückt meine
Ah.
Quelle, ich könnte das nicht.
Okay. Just a beginner. Ah. Yeah.
Aber nimm besser Firefox.
Ja, ja. Ja.
the only one who is kicked out of the network?
I'm trying.
Do it fine.
So, by the way, were there a discussion about naming of classes?
I'm getting it. Yeah.
What did
You
you
switch off machines.
Did you have a discussion before on naming of the categories?
Completely.
I said that for me, category should be nouns and singular. That's what I said.
I was just.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, because
Okay.
that makes the, I mean, for example, UML has a very good match with specifically numeric structures, and then if you want to do that, then it's very good to have this.
I think they have the same.
Now, in UML, you have a singular
Okay, very good.
when you name a class. I was just trying to.
What about properties? About members?
Degrees gives you a dollar.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Without,
cases and all those
yeah, I don't know about.
There is
I
a
think
ton
they have
assignment.
words there. Okay. This is assigned to or as members. I think it's very similar to.
where?
Okay, we take your money.
All right. Okay, is it good? Is it good?
Looks good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are in the so-called ontology browser, which is the tool for building the ontology.
Yes, so should I tell you what tomorrow?
No, I believe I would start creating a category. I don't know. Celebrity.
Oops. Yeah, don't everybody do this. Let Daniel do this. Otherwise, there's going to be a million categories. Probably not a good idea.
Okay.
You want to build the category tree first, please?
Yeah.
Rapper. Maybe musician. Let's
Oh,
stick
yeah.
with musician.
Hey.
Let's put rappers under musician. Are they musicians?
No.
Are they
They are exceptionally talented individuals.
individual?
Urban poetry.
Politician.
Angry young man.
Angry. Anyway,
Little kitten system, man.
We have scientists.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You're right.
Your superclass is movie.
Sportsman.
Steve Hawking.
Yeah, I think that's elements we should never think about.
Sorry?
Athlete didn't come up with this.
No. On the last Chaos Computer Congress, was it a presentation of sports for
so while this is happening, it's useful to see what's different about this than SMW. Right.
So what you just saw is with one mouse click and a couple of keystrokes, Daniel created a couple of classes, categories, which essentially is the same as creating pages with certain annotations in them. That means in the musician class, Daniel selected celebrity. He clicked on add subcategory, entered musician and hit return. What happened was we created a musician page. On the musician page, we added the annotation, I'm a subclass of celebrity. So like 10 characters and 2 mouse clicks and the complete page has been created.
Specifically a category page, right?
Yes, it's a
right
page
click.
in the category namespace.
Yeah, you can open it in a new tab.
Or maybe just hover over it so that we can see a link.
So it's already putting in with the musician, it's already putting this into the category celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Annotations are there.
Yeah. And what's doing with celebrity? Would you choose the just main category, or is that a thing you would have to...
Celebrity is a page in the category namespace
Okay.
without the category annotation.
That's it.
So next thing is we define the categories, and we have to define the categories in the context of a class. The property. Sorry, forget what I said. We define the properties, and we define the properties in the context of a class. That means probably celebrities celebrities have first names. So we click on celebrity, we enter in the properties column, we select add property and enter something like has first name. And the type of this property is, what is it? Any idea? Maybe you can open the drop down.
Text, I think it's called.
So for instance, for Prince.
Hey,
Unicode?
okay, let's don't go there. But it's
Sorry,
it's most likely a string. So let's do this and apply, create, and then let's do the same for last name.
This is what I always find strange, that you call a property has, because the fact that it's a property implies the relation has.
No,
Oh no, you could say is it.
it could be the inverse, like
Okay,
the example that
you want
Jaren
the
had.
direction.
Country has capital
I see.
city.
So you make the direction explicit.
Yeah. So I find it very useful to have this reading order.
Okay.
So that you effectively know this is subject, this is object, and the verb phrase in the middle determines the semantics.
But that's up to each wiki. I mean, the only thing that should be there is that it should be consistent throughout the wiki. So you should have, if you have a wiki, you should have some naming rules for these kind of things.
Okay.
Myself, I would prefer, for example, just have first name and
Yeah.
last name without the has.
Yeah.
But I see the value of that, and
But in
If you're
this,
consistent, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you're consistent, you're
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
and in this case they are strings, so the opposite direction is probably not very likely. But if you have two objects, especially if the same category, then you must define the sequence.
My feeling is that if you get outside of the knowledge working community and you get into a company, that this already is a little bit strange. Has first name.
Yes.
Obviously it has first name. You know, that's
Okay.
But that's all.
You're right.
But I think you're right in defining the direction. That's otherwise not understood.
And I think this is one of the first extensions to SMW that we wrote. And one of the reasons why is that if you try and create categories and properties just kind of dynamically with wiki text, number one, you tend not to make correct, to people who aren't very well trained, you tend not to create them consistently. Another is that they tend not to create all the pages that go behind them and the link properties that go between, or the link things like has type that go between them. And so if you're able to do it just here, right, then you can sort of have this workflow phase of modeling your data,
Yeah.
which in a commercial setting is actually really, really important. This is what DBAs love, right? How do you model your data? How do you think about the kinds of entities that you're going to end up storing information about?
And you can see it all in one page.
And you can see it. Yeah. So this actually turns out to be a fairly important usability constraint when people are modeling things that have more than 3 properties and 2 relations.
I guess this with has is important in many business systems as well. That, for example, like when you delete something, you may want to delete everything which belongs, which is owned by a certain audience. You delete the country that all its cities should be open.
But this is not supported here, because this would refactor the complete knowledge base, which is very complicated and not well-defined task.
No, but
If you delete something, you might want to keep the other thing, which is this.
I just mean that it complies with common design conventions in first systems, that you have this as.
These modeling tasks. Yes. Yes, that's true.
So let's continue.
yeah.
So who has a gender? Probably all several celebrities have a gender.
Chaz Bono.
And
Edge case.
I found a countdown. I have, I think, 9 types of genders.
They have a gender at a time.
Can we have a loud wellness?
Man, woman.
Yeah, we're going by style or genetics, right?
Man, who used to be a man, wasn't a man,
Okay,
is a
then
man
let's-
back again. And then let's go. Really?
Is
they
it
have
jail?
all these codes in Canada
No.
for gender. There's
It's
not
a
many
women,
types
it's a
of
women.
gender.
Why not that?
No, it must
Let's
be.
give everyone an income.
That's its official Canadian
Socialist.
non-type of gender. Okay.
Number.
Mhm.
So the first isn't an independent lifestyle.
And maybe we can have only rappers in jail, just in case.
Okay, but we don't have rappers. We have musicians.
No, we wanted to, to please Will, we wanted to add rappers.
Okay, okay, good.
It's already a rapper inside.
Then, okay.
I already added my own property in genre, so I got around to you.
Actually, he's out of jail. So that's, it's in jail.
It's in jail.
Forever. What you can see here also, Daniel selected subclass, rapper, here, subclass of celebrity. And what you see here, those properties are still visible because they are inherited. Rapper inherits all properties from celebrity, of course. It's an kind of object-oriented model. But they are laid out in italics so that you can tell it's an inherited property. It's not defined for this one.
How is this handled internally? Are they just copied, or
No.
is there a real
No.
relationship?
The browser collects the properties defined for superclasses. So there are no special additional annotations anywhere.
Okay.
Because rapper is a musician and musician is a celebrity, this browser knows that it should display all properties defined upstream.
But back
Also
there,
show it here.
Back there are still the attribute pages created by this, or is this completely independent from the normal semantic media system?
No, this is just the front end. In the back end, we create pages.
Yeah,
And
that
this
was
is-
my question. The
okay.
attribute page are the attributes from the superclass copied to the no.
No, each property is its individual page. It just says my domain is celebrity in this case, and my range is, or my type is string in that case. So this is defining the property, and because we know the subclass already here, we also know that genders also apply for musicians, and so on.
But there is not a property gender on the rapper page.
It's on the drug.
There's-
Why am I on the drugs?
There's
Why
not,
am I on the
there's
drugs?
not physical a property gender on the rapper page yet. That's only when you put in data.
Yeah, inheritance actually is operationalized.
I spell cocaine.
That's it. It's a change.
But we are defining only the schema level right now, right? We're defining classes and properties. We're not talking about instances yet. Yes, please.
I'm not
That's
sure
it.
it's
That's
a
the thing.
product idea or not. Like if I have a ERD, if I define the ERD, I have tables, I have attributes or columns of the table. Can you convert it into this category and properties automatically?
You can. You can.
Yes, we can.
You can.
I will demonstrate this on Friday in my talk about data integration.
Oh, okay. So we don't have to have this ER diagrams on the side and enter this.
You can lift the schema, the ER schema into the ontology.
Yes.
If you have an ontology, maybe you can translate your ERD diagram into an OWL file or RDF schema. You can load this ontology into the wiki and you will yield this structure immediately.
So Friday we will have another presentation.
Yes.
I think Hank, you've done this also.
World domination by Friday.
So I'm creating is in jail. There is in jail property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Boolean, mandatory.
You can't be a
It
celebrity.
is Boolean.
All right.
So we have to link.
Prerequisite.
Yeah.
We have to link. We don't have any actors, do we?
No. I can quickly create one. This is easy.
Rappers that have not been in jail can't be a celebrity.
Door.
That's a rule.
Okay.
And let's link them with stars in movie to the movie category.
Movies. 2 hours.
It's a page, and it links to.
Something.
Oh, this was a.
I believe you're.
Probably you might need
Oh,
some
did I
electricity.
hit something? Is it obviously there?
Now it's back.
Okay. Good.
I was still for 2 hours.
Ah. Oh, right. Okay. Now I have it. Okay. Movie.
Yes.
What else, Michael?
And I forgot about the birthday.
All right. For celebrities.
I would say so.
Yeah. Mm. Date, which is a date. And then we have the drugs. What shall we do with the drugs?
Drugs.
Nothing, just this.
You don't have anything to do with me.
Can we please add one property to politician?
Okay.
Like member of party. Just.
But we don't have parties. We
Then
have
it's a string. I
drugs.
don't.
Drugs.
Do you forgive me if I?
Drugs for celebrities.
Takes. Drugs. He's a politician. Right, yes.
Who knows?
In jail.
Yes, Danny.
Just because we had a discussion earlier, we have now a connection from actor called stars in movie to movie. But I wonder if it would make more sense to have a connection from movie with a starring actor instead of having it from actors.
Why not? Let's do it.
Oh,
Has that?
Has actually.
Yeah.
As actor.
Has actually. Just like that.
Let's get creative with property names.
By the way, it was strange to see there were already drugs in this wiki.
I think someone started editing them while we are.
Thank you.
So next thing in our task list is let's populate this wiki. And now it's your task again. Create a new page using the Create New Page button at the top of every page, and then you will get this dialog, which now should give you a longer list than we have seen before. Namely, now you can instantiate any of those categories that we just created. So why don't you create your favorite actor or politician or gangster rapper?
Chris is already in there.
Actually, I think our time is up now. Which is not good.
No. We have 10 minutes to go because we started 10 minutes later.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay, so please, every one of you create one instance of the celebrity class or one of its subclasses.
You don't know anything about Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You have Wikipedia, don't you?
Horse tranquilizer. Ooh, PCP. That's really bad stuff.
I also added China White Smack if he's
I
from
saw
the East
it.
Coast.
We have a scientist.
Actually, I forgot to say the most important thing.
Should he be an East Coast rapper? Make sure to mark China White.
What you see here looks like a semantic form, right? And actually it is. But the semantic form is automatically created based on the ontology. That means you create your model, and based on the model, we create the forms for you. That means you don't need to create a template, you don't need to create a form, you only need to care about the model. Everything else is done for you. Of course, this form that you can see on top can be made more beautiful if you manually create it, but this, I think, the benefits of doing everything automatically is far outweigh the manual approach necessary for creating a template and form.
If I have a manual form, will it use it instead, or will it?
I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So is the SMW class free?
Yes. All software components that we demonstrated here are free, in the same way as SMW is free.
But you frequently develop more features and make changes.
Yes. We essentially have an update cycle of 4 times a year.
Okay. So our company build something out of that. And if you change, you have to change it.
You only have to change if you want the new features, like now, right? If you want to have the most recent features of SMW, you have to decide whether you want to migrate, you have to migrate, you can afford to migrate. So it's the same thing for our tools.
Next Media Wiki 1.6 broke a few things, you probably noticed. And you don't have to switch immediately, you can switch in your own time.
Also, there's a bunch of extensions involved. There's the ontology browser, which you saw, there's the query interface. And these things can rev on different cycles, right? You know, maybe one will stay for a while, and then there'll be a new feature which you want. And so that managing the complexity of all that is why there's something called the deployment framework now, which says, okay, here you've got 17 extensions installed. You know, of those 17, 9 are up to date. 8 of them have updates available if you want them, right? And if you want them, you say, I want this one and this one.
Yep.
So how about this form? For example, is there any way to define predefined values that should be possible to fill?
Yeah.
Even for string fields?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
uses
but
the same
the
sort of
thing,
format.
you don't do it in the form, you do it on the program. So you do it
And can you do it
in
from
the model if you want, right? You define the model, and out of the model, everything else follows.
Yeah. So can you do it from this interface, or?
I don't. Allowed values are not supported in this ontology browser.
Right.
But if you go to the property page, you can formulate the allowed values in the right-hand side in the semantic toolbar,
Right.
which allows you to do it there. Because allowed values is a property of all properties, so you can instantiate that.
Now, one thing,
I haven't finished my page, Daniel.
now I've got a scientist celebrity, Albert Hoffman. I've got a drug LSD, and now you have to put by hand event or off. How could you also put that in the... You say you have scientists, celebrities, Albert Hoffman. Yes? You've got drugs, LSD, and then how do you connect those? Do you connect them in the ontology, or do you connect them on the page?
I used
Of course,
on.
the instance must link
Instance.
to
So, I see. So you do it on the page.
The main namespace.
Well, I used
I see the point.
like I used one that didn't exist in Joy's for the drug link.
So now,
So can we look what we have created altogether? I mean, what you guys have created? Daniel?
Yeah. Shall I create a new article which lists all celebrities?
Go ahead.
So it turns out when you're building these semantic wikis, it's pretty, one of the ways you use queries is you embed them on pages. So somebody who's using their wiki might want to see all the tasks that are assigned to somebody. So you build a page that just has the query built into it. And so the user only has to jump to that page and they get an automatically up-to-date view of the database.
that's connected.
So that's what I think what we're going to do here is build a query and then dump it on a page so the query is always available on the page.
Yeah, actually Daniel is using the WYSIWYG editor and embeds the query immediately. So he's using the query building tool as I showed a couple of minutes ago, and when he's done building the query, he will click on the green button and the query will become part of the page and will get rendered whenever the page is displayed.
It's handy, you can use it, cut and paste.
Is it because it's German that it's not working? Most probably.
Most probably. I think you have to stick with one.
Oh, okay. Swap to
Because it uses string management.
Oh, okay. So
Okay. I'll embed this.
Okay.
He's a very
Nice.
popular
Save
American
it.
rapper.
There's a value in this wiki, you see.
because it's
Very good.
So does he run the demo?
Yeah, you may be able to, I don't know if it's true, you might be able to.
Addiction to cannabis,
Yeah.
somebody who doesn't understand.
East Coast heroin.
Yeah,
Psychological.
That's true. That's psychologically people are
Well, that's
very
So I think this wraps up like the basic feature set of SMW Plus, consisting of, what can I remember, WYSIWYG editor, annotating within the editor, query building with the specialized tool, ontology building with the ontology browser, faceted search without any manual effort to create the facets and stuff, and
On the fly, semantic
Show them how they can
forms.
search on these.
and semantic on the fly semantic forms based on the model. And we are here to support your projects in the future using our tool.
I think, by the way, that the semantic editor has the ontology has a great interface by going to the left and to the right. You can narrow in, you can go up, and I think that's really for the semantic editor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
We've brought some product information with us. So if you want to have a brochure with the relevant hyperlinks and our offering, then please take it here. My business card is also here. Don't hesitate to talk to me.
When will this work all SMW Plus with 170?
And that's the next release in October.
October.
Yeah.
Good, because I'm really waiting for it.
Thanks, Mark, for helping me out.
No worries.
Yeah, Michael, that's your data writer, isn't it?
I already reached out.
Also, I have another one question. Daniel? In the October version, will also the clashes between the SMW Plus and the semantic forms, because then the JavaScript thing is then. Because now there are some problems between semantic forms and SMW Plus.
No, we have,
Is it
I
also?
believe, just one or two pitches are needed, but it goes smoothly if you use. I mean, it's important for you to know that this what you saw here you can download right now for free, and this is what we call SMW Plus Community Edition, and this is an administration interface where you can pick other extensions and install that easily on top of that. And if you use that administration interface for installing, then you don't need to take care of patches or something. Just click on the extension you want to have and download it from us, and it's installed immediately. And we made sure that everything runs fine and smoothly if you use this tool for it. So there are no complaints. This works right off the box.
I have a question. Is it the actual version of SMW Plus basis on SMW 1.6?
What you have seen right now is based on 1.5.6.
Yes.
All right.
And
1.16.
MediaWiki 1.16. And the next version that we're going to release will be based on SMW 1.6 and MediaWiki 1.7.
The one which will be released in October.
Yes. If nothing goes